That's us
Hi
going on.
folks, I think that might be us live and streaming. So welcome to our ThingLink session this afternoon. For our Aberdeen City staff, this potentially is another different platform to have a webinar on, but it's nice to try out something new every so often. I am delighted we've got Louise with us from ThingLink, who is the one you'll see putting out a lot of these inspirational things on Twitter, linked to the ThingLink, and I think we're really excited to investigate some of the possibilities we have for this in Aberdeen City, and I believe we've got one or two East Renfrewshire colleagues with us as well, so good afternoon to you guys. Louise, over to you. If you want to take it away, I think we're all really excited to see what ThingLink can do for us.
Yeah, no, thank you for that lovely introduction, Jackie. As you know, I do work for ThingLink, but I'm in Scotland. I'm out on the Moray coast. I have been working in education in Scotland for about 16, 17 years now. So it's really nice that I can actually speak to my colleagues across Scotland today and hopefully share some insights about ThingLink. So thank you. So I'm just going to remove you, if you excuse me. I'm going to remove you from the screen. And I'm just going to say to everybody that this is being recorded, so you will be able to play back and watch it at any time. So that's a nice resource for you to use. We really do encourage you to put questions into the chat, and I'm going to put links in the chat so that you can go back and see these at any point. And Jackie's going to come back in and answer any questions specifically about Aberdeen City Council and the setup. And if you're watching from East Renfrewshire, then Jonathan Hull, I'm sure, is watching from somewhere as well. So he'll be able to answer those. If we can't answer them right away, we'll follow up. So a big hearty welcome to you all. So I'm going to share my screen now, and hopefully you will be able to see that I have a presentation here. Fantastic. So I've never used this before. This is something called Pitch. I'm a Google Slide user and a Google Slide fan. So this is a first for me. Yes. ThingLink. So ThingLink is now available to you. And that's because Aberdeen City Council and East Renfrewshire have bought accounts for all of their teachers in the local authority. And I know that Jackie will be able to give you some more information on how that works. So what is ThingLink? So ThingLink essentially gives you the power to take any image, any video, or any 360 media and make it completely accessible and interactive. So just think, you know, what kind of images you might use. And when we think about images, we often think about maybe just a photograph, but literally you can take any kind of image, whether that's a poster, whether that's sketch notes. We see sketch notes all over Scotland because Education Scotland use them as their inspection kind of snapshots. And imagine if you took one of those and then you could put interactive hotspots in and actually embed voices. How much more accessible would that make it for your school communities? And you can also do the same with 360 images and 360 videos. Or standard videos and make them completely interactive. And ThingLink's been running for about 10 years. So it's a very stable, mature tool. And it was originally an education technology tool. That's what's at its heart. But we've seen over the last 10 years that it's been around, it's grown to become today the industry leading solution for creating engaging content. And I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that, you know, over the last 18 months, we've seen digital learning accelerated and this need. So ThingLink has really risen to the challenge. And as you can see, there's about 8 million content creators, 350 million annual learners. And I thought it'd be helpful, and I'll share these with you so you can read these and take them in later on. But I was just thinking about some of the challenges that we faced in Scotland in schools and some of the ways that Scottish schools have responded. So first of all, you know, there's the transition tours that would have happened, you know, about now really, and leading up to April. And that's obviously been incredibly difficult in the current climate. There's also this increased need for digital literacy skills and independent learning skills. And I think we can all agree that we're not just going to go back to how it was before. And actually, I've heard from a number of educators who have said that they started using digital tools in the first lockdown, went back to kind of business as usual in that kind of middle phase, and then went back the second time, and it just reaffirmed that actually things, you know, just seem to be a lot more in the right context for today using digital multimedia. Making busy images accessible. This is my mantra. As I mentioned, those sketch notes, they're all just like busy kind of images. How can we really bring them to life with young people's voices or your voices or audio? We've seen some schools that have had to change the whole direction of travel around the school. Stirling High School. Hello, Ian Stanger, lovely old friend of mine back in the day when we were looking at health promoting schools. That shows just how long I've been working in Scottish education for. That was obsolete in 2007. So having that kind of 360 walkthrough of a school to show the direction of travel is another really good use for ThingLink. We've seen these amazing choice boards where parents and carers were saying they were being bombarded with different tasks, and actually some educators made a single place for all of those tasks to go with choice boards. And you can see there just some of the other real kind of uses of ThingLink, the original tour creator, where you can create tours and explore places that you wouldn't be able to get to. So what can you use as your base media? So with ThingLink, and after I've been through these slides, we'll do a little bit of a hands-on. Well, you can upload an image, and this can be a JPEG image. It can be any size, but I recommend 1920 1080 pixels. You can upload your own 360-degree image, and I'm going to show you where you can find our 360-degree image library that's accessible to you exclusively for ThingLink users. But of course, you know, you might want to take a 360 of your classroom or a space outside, or partner with a business to get a 360 of the inside of the workplace. And you could use your mobile phone with Google Street View app and actually create your own 360. If you do that, just remember to take the pictures all the way around, otherwise you get an incomplete 360. Now, this is a really cool tip. So during the lockdown, a lot of teachers wanted YouTube accounts, which can be a bit of a headache to manage. And also YouTube can send people down kind of rabbit warrens. You know what it's like. You see something and you click on it and then away you go. And we heard from people like Jackie's role say, you know, not another YouTube account. Well, actually, you know, you can upload a video to ThingLink of up to 10 gigabytes and then share it. So you don't need to have a YouTube account. You can just upload your videos directly to ThingLink. And then, of course, which is a little bit more specialized, you can actually use 360-degree video. And once you've uploaded any of those base media files, and you can upload them all at once if you wanted to, it would create a ThingLink with each of those ready for you to edit and add your interactive tags. And you can add 4 main tag types. Now, this sounds pretty simple, but if you think, you know, how many combinations and what you can do with those 4 base media types and 4 different types of tags, it's unlimited in terms of possibilities. And we'll have a look at those as well. So you can upload basic text to text labels. You can upload a combination of text and videos into your tags. You can embed apps and tools as well. And I've put already in our chat a link to one of my spreadsheets with the top 30 tools that you can actually embed in a ThingLink. And if you think about the benefits of that, it just means that you're not sending people to different places. It's all on the same page. And then, of course, you can link all of these together. And it doesn't matter whether you're linking a ThingLink that's an image to a 360. You can mix and match and link them all together with these tour tags. So, as I mentioned, we have a number of strategic partners and those apps that you can embed into a ThingLink. And we are actually, as an organization, partners with Google and Microsoft. And what that means is that we play nicely with all these tools. So it doesn't matter if you're in a local authority that is a Teams fan and has a mix of these apps, or whether it's a local authority that's opted for G Suite or Google Workspace. We play nicely with everybody, and everybody loves ThingLink. It genuinely is the nicest EdTech tool out there. But one of the things and one of the reasons why I mention this is because we're a Microsoft partner, we also get access to things like Immersive Reader. And this is an example of a museum, and see the text there that's on the screen. You'd be able to open that into Immersive Reader, and then of course you would be able to translate that text into over 80 different languages, which means that, you know, that image that you've taken or that video, and this is a video of a lab that's showing people who might be going to work there what it's like to work in this lab. And you can imagine, you know, that's an opportunity that's just so rare these days. Imagine if you could explore that and all of the information in those tags was completely accessible to you. So that's what happens when you're able to have these partnerships. So we're really pleased with that. So I've talked a little bit about education and education uses, and that's for the here and now for you as educators. But don't forget that ThingLink and its other customer base is businesses and enterprise. And if you follow me on Twitter or you follow us on Twitter, I put a lovely example from the Press and Journal who used us to do an interactive map of Scottish dialects called Speaking Scots. It's just super. I'll send you a link to it. So, you know, by encouraging your students to use multimedia, you are actually giving them the opportunity to think about, you know, their own digital literacy skills and thinking about, you know, what they contribute to the workplace in the future. And a number of businesses have had to change their practices really quickly as well. So you'll find that e-learning and training and workplace orientation, understanding complex concepts in a workplace like health and safety, these have been overcome, these challenges have been overcome using ThingLink. So that's really helped us over the last year, but it's also helped those businesses to really find a solution. So just a few popular use cases before I actually show you some in practice. So we've seen virtual tours and campus and company tours, product descriptions, sales training, medical training, virtual universities, all of these kind of use cases that are emerging, particularly, you know, from businesses as well. And this is a really nice example, and it's actually from Finland, which is where, you know, as I mentioned, Finland comes from. And this presence of having these little videos really helped their health and safety training, and they have people of all nationalities coming to the building. So what they've been able to do is create health and safety training, particularly in light of the current restrictions, and this goes out in advance to all of the people that might be going there. And they've also put in some mandatory questions. So people have to answer the questions before they can get round the rest of the tour. And this has, because health and safety is mandatory training, it's also been able to evidence that they've completed that training. So these are things that you're going to be able to do at your fingertips now that you all have access to ThingLink. There we go. And just some other examples there. Virtual showrooms that have come to life recently. So I'm just going to show you now, if I go into my ThingLink account, and you'll be able to play along with me and go into your ThingLink account, and we'll have a look at some lovely examples. So the first ones that I wanted to show you, if I go into my little collections here, and in Scotland, there is a teacher who you might know of. Her name is Amanda Pickard, and she created this fantastic choice board for her little learners. And you can use your ThingLink account for any age and stage. You know, we've seen ThingLinks being used for little learners. It's touchscreen, so it'll work on any device as well. So if you're using this on an iPad or an Android tablet or a Mac or a Chromebook, it's going to work on anything. So what Amanda's done here is that she's created this base image. And you can actually create this base image using something like a Google Slide or a PowerPoint slide, or even something like Canva. And then once you've done that, you can upload it into your account and start putting in these interactive tags. So here we have
a sentence needs a capital letter at the beginning,
an
a full stop at the end.
interactive tag that shows her students that they're going to be learning about building sentences. What Amanda's able to do once she's created this and added the tags is that Amanda can click the share button, and it gives you this embed code. So imagine you had a Google site for your school, or a website for your school, or a Google site, or even something like a Sway. If you're using Sway, you could actually take that embed code and you could pop that into your Google site or your school site or your Glow blog or whatever, and it would actually embed that into your page. If you don't have a website and you just want to share the link out, hi Charlie, nice to see you there, you can hit the share button again, and you can see that I've got this button, share link, and I can just share that link out, and my viewers would be able to click on that link and it would take them straight into this ThingLink. So that means if you've got a Google slide deck you might be using, you could actually link out to this as well. The other thing that you might have seen there is that I also, in that share link, have a QR code option. So if you are a local authority that makes use of QR codes by embedding them into like a poster or a postcard or even a sticker, you could actually just put that QR code on there as well. Now, this is really quite amazing because, as you saw me mention, that we're partners with both Microsoft and partners with Google for Education. You'll see there that there is some other little options. And here I have a Share to Classroom button. If I click on the Share to Google Classroom button, for the first time, it will probably ask me where my classrooms are. And what I can do with this is choose the class. And actually, I've got a student voice class here set up already. I can choose the action to create an assignment, create a question, make an announcement, or create the material as well. So I'm just going to create material with this, click go, and you can see it gives me all the options that you would see in Google Classroom, and that would be straight there for my learners in the Google Classroom. What can be easier than that? Now, the other great thing, of course, as you'll have seen from that share button that I showed you, is that you can also do the same with Teams. You can publish to Twitter as well. And that ThingLink will work on Twitter as an interactive image as well. So you've got some nice options there. The other great thing about this example that Amanda's done is that you can actually embed videos in your tags. And Amanda got a bit fed up of recording herself on her phone, but what she found was that, you know, this really helped to increase social presence with the learners as well. If she just had a video explaining, you know, what the task was about, particularly for her little learners. But if you think about, you know, if you really want to keep your kids focused on the task in a world of distractions, as we all know, working at home these days, that actually we need to really engage them. And what Amanda found was that if she had a little video of herself explaining what the task was, it really helped them to understand what they needed to do. What she's also put is text about how to explain what to do. And that combination of different ways of explaining, like gestures and voice, and you can even put sign language in, and you can even put the audio in. Actually, that multimodal experience just makes it easier for her learners to understand what she's asking. Now, I'm going to be a bit playful here because Amanda did have videos of herself, but she also, hopefully you can hear the audio from this, but she also got her dog, Travis the dog, to introduce the subjects to her little ones. And I just think that's magical. The kids just thought this was hysterical. You'll see in this tag as well that this little video is uploaded, but it also has buttons so you can stop and play, and you can also enlarge that, choose the volume, and you can download that video or make it picture in picture as well. So that's got some options. So Travis the dog here.
Hi, everyone, brilliant. Travis here. My
Can you hear that, Jackie?
You're all brilliant at reading and writing sentences. So that's what she wants you to focus on this week. Reading and writing sentences. I can't wait to read what you've written.
That just tickles me every time. So that is just such a simple thing that Amanda's done, but it's been incredibly impactful. The other tags that she's got here is that
Clicking on this blue button will take you straight to the Oxford Owls website, where
she's actually put a call to action button, so you could put in buttons that link out to URLs as well. So you've got lots of options there. Just a really super example. So one of the other examples that I really wanted to show you is when young people are using ThingLink as well. And with the accounts that you've got, you can also encourage your learners to use it. And I started playing around with concepts about creating a visual CV. This is something that I've been doing for a while. You might be familiar about the work that we did previously in my previous role with learner journeys and visual CVs, but we wanted to take it one stage further. So imagine your pupils in secondary school who wanted to create a visual CV and use this as an opportunity to reflect on their skill sets and add in examples of things that they're really proud of. So I just use this as a base media image, and I use this with Canva and set this up like it was a CV. And we'll answer that in a minute, Michelle. I've just seen your question. And then what you're able to do is to add these little tags.
This is my favourite picture. It's of the Colburn
and
Sands,
upload your little videos. And actually, you know, that is really powerful in terms of thinking about what examples you might want to talk about, and can really be a reflection on the skills that you might have developed. So Michelle, you can add lots of tags. Make sure you're using the right editor, and we're going to have a look at the right editor. If you're using the iPad app, so ThingLink is available in the browser. I'm using the browser. If you've been using the iPad app, I would say don't use it. I'll be really upfront and honest with you. Our iPad app is completely out of date, but that's okay, because if you're on an iPad, just go to thinglink.com/edu or thinglink.com and sign in, and you get such a more powerful experience in the browser. of your iPad, and in the right interface you'll be able to add on all of those different tags very, very easily, and we're going to have a look at that in a mere moment. So that's just a mock-up of a visual CV that I'd been working on, and of course you can add in all of these links and interactive tags. And then I worked with a university in America where the students actually put this to practice as one of their tasks before they started applying for jobs. And this is Dia Jones. What she's done is just used an image of herself rather than one of those base images. And if I click on the tags.
Greetings, I am Dia Jones, a third-year business administration scholar from Tampa, Florida. And I currently attend Florida A&M University.
So what Dia has done is that she's been able to put all of these tags on, embed videos, and she's also been able to put links into summer projects. So again, you know, don't forget that your students can get creative with this as well. So I think what would be really great is just to stop and show you how easy it is to use ThingLink. And I'm going to go into my trial account. So when you first log into ThingLink, you might find some little sample files that have been uploaded for you. So you can delete those. They're just ones to play around with. And you also have the option to have these folders, and we'll have a look at those in a short while. These are folders where you can group your projects together, and actually you can use these folders like you would a Google Drive folder, and that you can share the content in that folder with your colleagues or with your students, and you can collaborate on your ThingLinks together. So for the purposes of my demonstration, we're going to create a ThingLink, and the first thing I'm going to do is just hide those folders so that the screen's not so busy. And I'm going to click the create button. And here's just some examples. There's just some example videos when you click on those. So I don't want to look at those, and I'll just continue on. Right. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit the create button. And this is new. So this is in our new interface. And you can see here that actually I can drag and drop my files in from, we're going to look at that, Lorraine, how you record your voiceovers to the tags. Or by clicking upload, you can see that I can upload files from my computer. I can connect with my Google Drive. I can connect with my OneDrive. And this is something that's new as well. We have an integration with Unsplash. So Unsplash is where you can find over 2 million royalty-free images for you to use. So here you can see that there is all of these images that you can search and use. So that's a new integration for you. So do have a look at that. But I'm not going to use that today. What I thought I'd do is I would use our 360 image library, and we have hundreds of professional 360 images for you to use. They're exclusive, they're royalty free for you, so you'll be able to search. So I just thought I'll find something which is, let's go to Buckingham Palace. You can tell I was working with the US yesterday. Here is the Buckingham Palace 360. And if I click on this, you can see that I can access this. And I can also clone this image. And that is now an image that's in my account. If I go to my content, there we go. That's my clone of Buckingham Palace there, ready for me to use. If I did want to choose any images from my hard drive, just to show you, I can click upload, upload the files, and that file picker would enable me to pick out images if I wanted to use any of them. I can, let's just pick one. Let's find one. Here we go. That was one image that I had ready for today. There we go. And that image is uploaded. Click continue. It'll ask you if you want to create a folder. I don't want to do that, and skip. So there we go. I've got an image there that's ready for me to use. And that's as simple as it gets for uploading your media. So I'm going to go into my image here that I took earlier on, which is an image of that lovely road as you're coming into Scotland, the M74. Right. By clicking the pen icon, it's going to take me to the tag editor. And to start adding tags, I simply click on Add Tag. And this default icon pops up, and I can move this anywhere around my image. And this is just like a place marker. You don't need to use that icon, but you can place it anywhere. So I'm just going to put that there. And the first tag that I'm going to show you has got the text and media options. And Lorraine, this is where I'm going to show you how you can record your voiceovers. So if I clicked Add Text and Media, this now gives me the option to configure that tag any way that I want. So this is going to be some information about Scotland. So actually, I want to change the icon. And ThingLink gives you over 300 different icons to use and different colorways. So I'm just going to click on the eye. You can see it gives me these options of different colorways, and I can click on the red eye, and that's changed that icon. But what you'll also see is that you can create your own icons here as well. And I've created a video to show you how to do that. Or you can go to something called Flat Icon, which is a website where you can download free icons to use. They're called SVG files, and you can create your own, and you can see some of the ones that I created there. But I'm just going to use that I tag for now. There we go. So in my text title, I can just put Scotland, and I've got a title now. And then I could add some description text. And I just thought I'd go on to Wikipedia and pick up some text for my demonstration today. Here we go. Oh, I don't want to sign in. Right, okay. So here I'm on Wikipedia, and I'm just going to pick up some text to paste into my tag. Here we go. And that's as hard as it gets, really. That's populated that tag. And now I also have the Immersive Reader built in. So that text that I just populated in is now already there in Immersive Reader for me to use. And don't forget that that has text to speech, but it also has picture dictionary built in as well. So just by putting that description text in, I've made that text accessible. And don't forget as well, you can translate that. This is for the viewer that gets this screen, and I can translate that into over 80 different languages and change the layout. I'll go back to my tag. There we go. So I've got my tag there. I can also underneath see I've got this button URL, and actually, you know, I pinched that text from Wikipedia, and I might want my viewers to go and have a look at that Wikipedia page. So what I can do is go back to Wikipedia, copy out that URL, go back into Shutterstock, back into ThingLink, paste that in, and now you can see I've got this button here that when people click on will take them to that Wikipedia page. But it just says en.wikipedia.org at the moment, which is a bit boring. So I can change that text and say, click here for more information. There we go. That makes it a bit more enticing, doesn't it? So now I have, and if I wanted to, I could click done. There's my tag. But actually, you know, when you open that, you've just got that text. But I want to, you know, put some audio in there as well. So here I now can add in further images, and I can also upload audio, which would be an MP3 file, or I can record my voice directly in the tag. So I could say, use my microphone, and I just recorded myself. So you just click on the microphone and you'd be recording yourself. Recording, hello, welcome to Scotland. Recording, hello, welcome to Scotland. and we'll just remove that audio. And that's as simple as it is. So it's got a built-in voice recorder for you. Now you can see here that I can add in further images and video. So Michelle, to add in video in that tag, it's got quite a small file size because it's only meant to be a little snapshot. So it's got, as I mentioned, a smaller file size. But if you've got a bigger video, what you could do is create another ThingLink and use a different type of tag. You could use the embed tag and just embed that ThingLink into that tag, and that will play perfectly as well. But you can upload little videos here, take something on your phone, say 30 seconds, or you can put in images as well. So I'll just go back to Wikipedia, and I'm just going to save that Saltire. There we go. It's got PNG file. So back in my ThingLink, I can click on the plus for an image and select the image that I just downloaded. There we go, open. And there we have my Saltire there. And I could add multiple images if I wanted to. I'll just find another image to put in there just to show you. And that would play as a carousel. So any images you've got there, and you could click on them and make them large as well. It's probably not the best image, but I'm sure you'll understand what I'm trying to do. So there we have it. You've created a text and media tag, which is all ready to go. If I click on the X there, you can see my tag can now still be positioned anywhere that I want it to go. What was the name for making your own tags, please? It's just add tag. There's nothing more than that, really. So you just, oh, what, for making your own icons, you mean, the tag icons? Yeah, so it's just upload your own icon. And you can do that with flat icon. You can download tags that are already created. I can pop it in the chat, which is a great website to go. Or you can do that with Google Drawings and download them as SVG files. And I've created a separate YouTube video on how to do that, and I'll post it in the chat too. Emma's replied as well. There you go. So the next tag that I'm going to show you is a plain text label. And this literally is just up to 100 characters. So I'll just put that I got that picture courtesy of Shutterstock. There we go. 2021. There we go. And again, I can change the icon for that as well. And I'll just put that as a little heart. There we go. So that's just a plain text label. That's quite useful if you just want to put in information about the image, for example. So the next tag that I'm going to show you is add content from website. And if you scroll back on the chat and YouTube, you'll see that I've created a sheet of top 30 things that we see embedded into this tag. Now you can, as I mentioned, embed a ThingLink in this tag if you wanted to. So you could embed a ThingLink that's a video, which would help Michelle. Or you could embed a Google form. So I could have a data collection question on this ThingLink as well. I could ask for feedback, or I could ask people to complete a quiz on the Scotland and the M74 if I wanted to. But I'm going to show you that if I take the URL from Wikipedia, so it's just a web page, and then I pop that in there, that tag will now be an interactive web page. So you could embed websites, but you can also embed, as I mentioned, things like Flipgrid, Padlet, Google Maps is incredible. I'll show you Google Maps. So if I open up another tab and go to maps.google.com, and I just do a search for Scotland. Here we go. And say I wanted to put a map of Scotland into that interactive tag. There we go. That's just populated. And you know, when you use Google Maps, you can click on the share button, which gives you the option to embed a map. And then you can copy the HTML, and you can see it's copied to my clipboard. Back in my ThingLink, I'll get rid of Wikipedia, post that HTML code in there, and I now have an interactive map which I could use. And if you've created a map, and obviously you can create your own Google Maps and put in directions, all you need to do is just use that share code. And actually, we've got an icon for Google Maps already built in there, which is that one there. And if you want to delete the tag, you can delete the tag. So I'll click done. So there we have it. I now have a ThingLink with a text and media tag, an interactive map that I've put in, and I've also got a text label. But I mentioned that tour tag, how can you build virtual tours in ThingLink? So I'm going to click done and show you that in my ThingLink, I had that clone of Buckingham Palace, which is a 360 image. And again, I could just tag it exactly the way that we were doing before. But I want to use my ThingLink to put a tour to Buckingham Palace. So go back to my ThingLink, and I'm going to use my tour tag now. So click on the edit pen again, add a tag, and we're going to use that fourth powerful tag, which is create a tour. Now here you can see it asks me to select a destination. So I'm going to select my scene, and all of my ThingLinks will pop up here, but we have that 360 image that I uploaded here. And I can add some text to say, take a trip to London. There we go. Now, when people click on that, they'll go straight into that 360. And then I could obviously have more tags in that 360, or I could have lots of tour tags on this one and take people there. But you can also add in this conditional transition. So I could ask a question, which means that people have got to get the answer exactly right before progressing onto that tour tag. So you could create a breakout room or an adventure story, or test people's knowledge out, for example. So I might put, the question is, what is the palace called where the Queen lives? There we go. And the correct answer, of course, would be Buckingham. But I could put in options there, or I could select that they have to answer that correctly in order to progress. And if they get it wrong, it'll go red. If they get it right, it'll enable them to progress. But I'm going to take that off just now. So here we have my tour tag with my take a trip to London, and I could change the icon again into whatever I wanted to. And I'll just put a play button. And we'll make that yellow just to show you. Click done, and that's it. So I've got, a number of tags there now. I can move them around. I can play about with them if I want to, put them anywhere. But there's another option that you've got here, which is the settings option. And in this, you can actually change the color scheme. So say I wanted it to be yellow and black, that might be an accessibility feature, or you might just want to keep it in line with your branding. Or your school colours. I can click done, and that's changed. So at the moment you can see these tags pulse, but maybe I don't want them to. I can turn that off. Some people have transparent tags and they don't want them to pulse because they want things hidden. And here is where you can upload audio that plays throughout the whole ThingLink. So we've seen audio in a tag, but we've also seen audio that can play throughout the whole ThingLink as well. And that's where you'd upload it, or you would record your voice directly in there as well. And I'm going to click done. Once I've had a look at those settings, I can click done again. And now I'm ready to share. And I've got that embed code, the share link. I can hide the ThingLink interface if I wanted to, which would mean that people wouldn't see the details at the top, or I can publish it to social and share in those various options. And that is as hard as it gets to create a ThingLink. You've got some other options here. So you just might want to check your privacy settings. If you want it to be for my organisation, that means people in Aberdeen City Council or East Renfrewshire, you can set it so it's public, unlisted, and you can also make it private. Which is only to members of a folder. So you could have your own folders or share them. I could share them with Jackie. You can't insert images as the options to answer the question, but you could have those images on the ThingLink, for example, and then have multiple choice. You could tag them A, B, C, or D. And I'm going to click save there on that. I'm going to make it public. So now I've edited, I've got my privacy settings. It's not got a very good name. It's just called Shutterstock and a number. So I might want to change the name of that to be Our Trip to Scotland. And that would change the name of it. There we go. And what I can also do here is I can move it to a folder. But this is quite useful. I can see the statistics. So once you've created a ThingLink, you get metrics on how many times it's been viewed, and it will also show you which tags have been clicked on the most as well. So that'll give you the total views, unique views, and you'll also be able to go back and see the metrics for the life of that ThingLink. You can clone this. So if you wanted to, you could share a ThingLink to your students and they could clone it and add their own tags, or you could just give them the image and they could make their own ThingLink, or you could make a ThingLink and it'd be without tags and ask people to tag it. Now this is super handy and this will work for any ThingLinks. So if you wanted to change this background but not lose your tags, you're able to do that by clicking replace background, and you could upload another image and the image would change and all your tags would be the same. And that works with 360 as well. So if you've got 360 of a classroom and you've put your tags in, then you'd also be able to change the background if you needed to. So I'm just going to click cancel there. And you can bin, and of course you've got your share function. So that's as hard as it gets when you're playing around with your ThingLink interface. And I'm really happy to take any questions. I have lots of nice other examples to show you as well, some of which are just fantastic that I adore. And I'd love to show you some of those if I just go back to my collections. So as I mentioned, we're seeing this being used in the healthcare industry as well. NHS are using this to enable multidisciplinary medical teams. And this is an example where a Dr. Abalasha Jones has created a 360 type room where you have a patient and a medical professional, and you can click on the phone. And
hi, am I through to Dr. Patel?
Yes, this is Dr. Patel.
And you can hear the telephone conversation between the paramedic and the GP. And it's also got a transcript of the phone conversation in there. There's hidden clues like a biscuit tin, and the biscuit tin's empty because the patient's eating all the biscuits and she's diabetic. But the most powerful thing about this is not just all of these interactive tags, the fact that they're accessible, is because the doctor who created this found that a lot of the content that was being used in the university courses and the medical training was just out of date because it didn't have a reflection of diversity. So it wasn't accurate in terms of addressing issues around diversity. And also, it wasn't just in context for today, because obviously people are visiting people in the homes with masks on and different scenarios. So she was able to create content quite easily. I mean, the process of using the ThingLink editor was super simple, but she was able to make sure that this particular exercise for multidisciplinary medical teams and developing their observational skills really was right up to date. So again, just some really nice examples for you. Some of the other examples, which again take that a little stage further, is that she was able to create an escape room and use other tools embedded. So she's embedded little padlock clues with Flippity and put lots of clues in there. So imagine, you know, being able to do this in a whole variety of contexts. And I've got some great case studies that we've put on our blog if you want to go and have a look at some of those for inspiration. So I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for a second and bring Jackie back on and say, Jackie, we've got about 10 minutes left, and I really want you to get the most out of this and see if there's any questions that you might have. We've had one question from Salvador, which is it possible to have multiple choice with more than one right answer? If you want to start using that question tag, I would say probably use a Google form and embed a Google form into a tag if you want to have quite complex questions or multiple choice. And then you could have that they have to get a code right and then put the code in to the question to progress if it had to be, you know, a transitional tour tag. So there's lots of ways in which you can do that, but ThingLink itself might not be just the solution, but remember, you know, you've got a toolbox of tools, particularly in authorities that are using Google Apps if you want to use Google Forms, or you've got Microsoft and want to use Microsoft Forms. You know, you've got all of these that you can bring into play in one place. Jackie?
I think as well, you know, you talked about the replacing background there, and that's one of the things that I find the most helpful when you've created your background in, whether it's a slide, a PowerPoint or something, you take it into ThingLink, you're using that as your image for your background, and you then think, oh, actually, I've missed out such and such, or I need to move this over to make it work. And to be able to just go straight back into slides or wherever you're creating that in Canva and changing it, and having that updated file, and you know you can go straight back into ThingLink and just replace the background and everything else, all the tags stay where they are. It's just that background is updated for you. I think that's something that I find really helpful as well.
That's one of the suggestions that we have as one of our updates, and we do listen to everybody. And, you know, if you've got any particular suggestions of how ThingLink can improve, you know, we really do listen. Multiple file uploads. So, you know, if you're creating a 360 tour of a school and you've taken 60 images, you know, you want to be able to upload those all in one go to one file, one folder, and you're able to do that now in the new interface. So yeah, there's some fantastic examples where, you know, you've got that 2D image is your place where you take people and then they can click on the tour tags and then go and explore different rooms with audio as well, which just is really helpful.
Yeah, like I say, it's another really exciting, you know, digital tool that we've got at our fingertips now in the city, and we're at a point where we have 1,000 licenses for the authority, and, you know, for the sign-up process for that, staff just need to go to our education portal and request a license, and that will then mean that they're added to our Aberdeen City license. And we do have the possibility as well that learners could be added to that as well. So if there was a particular project that you wanted to be working on, it could be that you've got a license for yourself and you maybe want to have some of the learners to be able to create the ThingLinks as well. So lots of possibilities, and it's kind of then up to staff to decide how they want to sign up, what they want to use the licenses for.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian Stanger has asked a question about storage limit. No, there's no storage limit. The only limit is 10 gigabytes on a video, which is about an hour long video, which you can upload. When you upload videos to ThingLink, I should say that there's another option, which means that you can have your tags play along. You choose if you want them to play like for 10 seconds at the beginning of the video. So you literally add your tag in, and there's a slider that you can eke out across the bottom for the time that you want it to show on the video. So again, you know, that's a really, really useful thing to have. With 360, you can set how you want the image to look when people first land on the image. So you can set the initial kind of place where people land on 360, which is super handy. But it was 1 gig, but we upped it to 10 gigabyte as our COVID offering to try and help people, particularly because people were fed up of just having to use, you know, big platforms like YouTube, because you just get lost and there's lots of adverts. ThingLink doesn't have any adverts. You know, it's really, as I mentioned, it's a super nice education at the heart of its, you know, whole ethos. So it is discounted for education. You can have some free ThingLink teacher accounts as trial accounts. You know, if you're watching this and you're not part of Aberdeen City or East Ren, you can sign up and have a play around with it as well. But yeah, 10 gigabytes is pretty generous, and there's no storage limit for each, you know, all those other files as well. So yeah, hope that helps.
I think, like you say, you know, it's so user friendly for all age groups, and part of the work that I'm involved in at the moment, in the kind of the part of my role that sits out with the city with the work with the Northern Alliance, you know, there's part of the team who are using ThingLink as that platform for early years, and at the same time, the other end, if you like, of the team that I work in are using them for senior phase to create learning spaces for, you know, for National 5 Maths, for different levels across different subjects, and it's nice to see it being used at opposite ends of the education scale and used effectively, you know, as well, which is
good. I've seen, you know, so eSchool are using it now for Doug and his travels.
That's right, yeah.
Education.
Doug's in Dice at the moment, actually. Doug's in Dice this week.
Oh,
there's been some great stuff online from Doug's very, very many and varied journeys around Aberdeen, which has been great to see.
If you do want to have a look at some wonderful examples in Aberdeen, do have a look at Dice Primary. They're doing some amazing work. Gillian, you know, I love the examples that you're doing there. The library is just you know, it's just been fantastic. Really, really cool. And you know, just a whole variety of uses as well. You know, you've got, you know, interactive photos, but then other examples as well. People have been using like screenshots to show how to use, you know, a particular kind of software. Education Scotland were using it to show people how to use like Glow and SharePoint and various things. So yeah, lots of really, really lovely examples. So your video is only 3 minutes long. So Michelle, I think what you're doing is you're uploading it to a tag rather than a video as your video ThingLink. So if you upload your video as a ThingLink, it will work fine. Make sure it's an MP4 file. That's what you need to do. So I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think you're just not maybe putting it in the tag. You're putting it in the tag rather than the background base video. So have a go at uploading it and creating a ThingLink with it rather than putting it in the tag. And then, as I showed you, you can get that embed code of your ThingLink and then embed that into your ThingLink, if that makes sense. If you'll see on that sheet that I shared that there was like the top 30 of things that you can embed, like third-party tools, but you can also embed a ThingLink in a ThingLink as well as the tool tag. So you've got lots of options there. Michelle, if you're still having any problems, buzz me on my direct message on Twitter and we'll sort it out for you. I'm very happy to help out. But I should say, we do have an amazing support team. You can always email support@thinglink.com, or you can obviously contact Jackie or Charlie. I know that they obviously have access to support. Yeah, we're just really happy to help. You're not going to be left to flounder in any way. On ThingLink, when you're in your account, you'll see a help button and a support, and there's lots and lots of support articles. We have an active Facebook group, ThingLink Education. Do join that. And we've got a Twitter account as well. And, you know, the community are just fantastic at sharing examples and helping each other out, but really happy to help anybody who wants a little bit of support. As you can tell, I'm just could talk about this all day and regularly do, and don't sleep much.
I see Charlie's picked up a question. He's beaten me to it there. A question from Lorraine, who was asking if they're already signed up using ThingLink. How do they notify the council? As Charlie says there, it's a case of just raising a ticket in the education portal, and that will take you across kind of under the umbrella, if you like, of our account. But just make sure that you're signing up with your Google login, with your Embed login. So that's another one of these kind of single sign-ons that we've got kind of set up at the moment.
Yeah, it makes it super easy. I should talk about the roadmap as well, and it's sneaky peek time. There's a couple of minutes left. We are working on another integration, which bring more images available to you. We're also working on an integration with Canva, so you'll be able to create your Canva and then import it directly into ThingLink. And if you haven't played with my Fake It 360s that I've been doing, you see, I've created a template that you can create your own 360 images. It's like drag and drop. It's really quite cool. I'll pop it in the chat so people can have that. What I'll also do is, Jackie, I'll send the slides that I was using to you, and you can use those, customize them, make them your own. I'll send them to Jonathan Hull for East Ren as well. So you've got some internal assets, and you're welcome to use this recorded video as well.
Sounds great. It's all very exciting. I think a lot of the Aberdeen City staff have heard me, you know, we have techie tea breaks every Friday, and, you know, a lot of staff come along to that. And Canva's one that we've talked an awful lot about recently. Again, you know, with the upgrade to the teacher account as well. And I know I use that a lot, and then bring things from Canva into other tools. So it's great to hear that there's an integration coming there as well, which will kind of probably take one step away from that process too.
Yeah, we're always looking for ways to try and make ThingLink better. So we're always open to feedback. One of the other sneaky things on our roadmap, which I can drop in, is that we're looking at the ability to upload 3D images and tag a 3D image as well. So these are all things that you'll probably see coming soon.
All very exciting.
Very exciting. Thanks so much for having me. It's really nice to be working with a neighbouring local authority as well. As I mentioned, I'm only in Murray, so maybe one day when things are a little bit easier, you and Charlie will invite me over and go and spend some time in some schools and maybe do something face to face. And I'd love to just, you know, go over and be there with everybody, but for another time.
Sometime soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Thank you so much, Louise. It's been a fantastic session tonight. We'll probably follow this up for some of the Aberdeen City teachers. We can talk about this a bit more in our techie tea break tomorrow morning as well. But for now, Louise, thank you so much again. Hopefully we can invite you down sometime soon and we can all meet in person again.
Excellent. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed.
Thanks, folks. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye.